Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Distorted Lens, where we talk horror movies and TV shows. Today, I wanted to take a moment and sit down and talk about Netflix's newest horror series. Something very bad is going to happen. I finished it twice. The first time I tried to watch it, I was at work, so I didn't really get to catch that much of it. But I rewatched it later, and honestly, I liked it more than I thought I would. Now, I'm in no way saying that it's the greatest thing Netflix has ever done, and I'm not saying it completely blew me away or anything like that, but I did think it was a pretty solid watch. More than anything, it felt like a show that knew exactly what it wanted to be, and I always appreciate that, because there are a lot of horror series that start with a cool idea and then kind of lose themselves somewhere in the middle. This one, though, for the most part, felt pretty focused on the whole way through. What helped right away is that the show has a really clear setup. It follows Rachel and Nikki in the days leading up to their wedding, and once they get to Nikki's home for the ceremony, the whole thing just starts to feel off. Rachel gets this growing sense that something terrible is going to happen before they even make it to the altar. And it's basically the tension the whole show is built off of. And I think that setup works because the show keeps things pretty contained. It doesn't try to make everything feel giant right away. A lot of the tension comes from the house, the family, the wedding getting closer, and Rachel trying to figure out whether what she's feeling is just panic, stress, or something is actually wrong. That helped the show feel a lot more focused to me, because it feels like it knew what the center of the story was. I do want to say that Camila Monroe plays Rachel and Adam DeMarco plays Nikki, and I thought both of them were really good. Rachel has to carry a lot of the story because so much of the show depends on you staying with her point of view. And I thought Camila Monroe did a really solid job with that. She keeps you locked into what Rachel is feeling without making it too overdone. And DeMarco was good too, because Nikki isn't just standing around being the fiancé in the background. He actually feels important to the tension of the show. And I really liked that their relationship mattered as much as it did. And then once the family gets more involved, that's where the show starts getting even more interesting. You've got Jennifer Jason Leigh and Ted Levine in the cast, and they both bring a lot of weight to the scenes they're in. They're the kind of actors where even if the scene is quiet, it still feels important just because of the way they carry themselves. And that was probably one of my favorite things about it. The family feels like part of the problem. They're part of what makes the whole place feel weird. Part of what makes Rachel feel uncomfortable, and part of why the wedding itself starts to feel like way more than just a wedding. So it's not just a show where somebody is walking around in a creepy house waiting for jump scares. The people around her actually matter, and I think that makes the story so much stronger. And when you tie all of that together, and with the Duffer Brothers as executive producers, it just gives a show a little extra attention right away. Obviously, people are going to connect their names to Stranger Things, and while this does not feel like that show, it does make you a little more interested going in. And at the same time, though, I do think it still feels like its own thing. It doesn't feel like it's trying to copy Stranger Things or recreate that same kind of energy. It's much more contained than that. It's a lot more controlled, and I actually think that it helps it. It feels more focused on building tension than trying to constantly throw giant moments at you. This was one of the biggest things I liked about it. It doesn't feel like it's trying too hard. A lot of horror shows now feel like they're trying to top themselves every 5 minutes. Bigger twists, louder scares, crazier reveals, more chaos. This show is a lot more patient. It lets scenes sit for a second. It lets awkward moments breathe. It lets the discomfort build naturally instead of forcing everything to feel huge all the time. So, if somebody is going into this expecting nonstop jump scares or some giant over-the-top horror spectacle, I don't think that that's what this is. That doesn't mean it's boring. It just means it's doing something a little different. It's more of the setup, the atmosphere, the family dynamic, and that constant feeling that something is just not right. And honestly, I think the wedding angle is what makes all of this work as well as it does. Because the setup already comes with the tension built into it. Weddings already come with pressure, expectations, awkward family dynamics, emotional baggage, stress, and everything needing to be perfect. So when you drop horror into that kind of situation, the story has something working for it before any major event happened. And I think that's part of why the show stayed interesting for me. It didn't have to keep inventing reasons for things to feel tense. The tension was already there, built into the situation. The show just keeps adding to it little by little. It takes something that should feel exciting and happy and slowly makes it feel more uncomfortable. And for me, that worked pretty well. I also like that as the episodes go on, the show starts giving you more than just the basic setup. It's not just Rachel being uncomfortable over and over again. You start getting more pieces of the family, more reasons why the environment feels so strange, and more of a sense that this wedding has a lot more hanging over it. I don't want to get too deep into spoilers, and I did appreciate that the show actually opens itself up more as it goes instead of just repeating the same beat every episode. That was important because I think if the series had just stayed in the exact same place the whole time, it would have started feeling thin. But it doesn't really do that. It gives you enough new information, enough new tension, and enough story as it moves forward that I stayed interested through the whole thing, even in the slower parts. And I still wanted to see where it was going. I'm the type of guy that when I find a show for the first time, I have a rule. Give it 3 episodes. If you're not hooked by that 3rd episode, you're probably not going to enjoy it. So, needless to say that by the 3rd episode, I was hooked. I was invested, and I wanted to see where this story takes us. I also think the wedding week structure helps with that too, because you always know what everything is building towards. The ceremony is coming. The big day is getting closer, and that gives the whole series a built-in countdown. So even when it slows down a little bit, it still feels like it's moving towards something. The other thing I appreciate, it felt like the show had direction. It didn't feel like it was just wandering around hoping the atmosphere would be enough to carry it. The atmosphere definitely helps, but the story still feels like it knows where it's going. And I think that matters a lot in a series like this. I also really liked the show felt confident in its tone. It didn't feel like it was bouncing all over the place trying to be 10 different kind of horrors at once. It felt like it knew what kind of story it wanted to tell and how it wanted to tell it. And I think that confidence helps the performances too, because it gives the cast room to actually play scenes instead of reacting to constant chaos. That makes a difference. It makes the quieter moments matter more, and in a show like this, those quieter moments are a big part of what makes everything work. Some of the tension comes from conversations, the looks people give each other, the awkward silences, and the little moments where things just feel off. The stuff matters as much as anything else. So overall, I'd say what worked for me is that the show had a strong central setup, a good cast, and enough actual story to keep me invested. It didn't feel like it was just coasting off the tides or trying to sell itself on being creepy. It actually had enough going on underneath to keep me watching. Is it perfect? No, I wouldn't say that. I don't think it's one of those shows where I finished it and immediately thought this was a all-time great. But I also don't think it needs to be that to be worth checking out. Sometimes a show can just be solid. Sometimes it can just do what it set out to do. And that's kind of where I land with this one. It had a strong leading performance, a good supporting cast, a setup that works, and enough mystery and tension to keep things moving. And because it stays in that lane instead of trying to become some giant messy thing, it actually works better. So yeah, overall, I liked Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen. I thought the cast did a really good job, and I liked the setup. I liked the family dynamic, and I liked that it stayed interesting all the way through. It's not trying to be the loudest horror show in the room, and I think that actually helps it. So, if you've been seeing it pop up on Netflix and wondering whether it's worth the watch, I'd say yeah. I think it is. Especially if you like horror that's a little more controlled, a little more patient, and a little more interested in building tension than just throwing scares at you every 2 minutes. It's a good solid watch. Good cast, good setup, and enough there to keep you invested the whole way through. If you've watched Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you haven't yet, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button. It helps me and Ash more than you think. But for now, my name is Dizzy, and thank you again for checking out the video. We'll see you in the next one.